Okay, so you accused. Oh, let me begin.
Let's start with the Quran stuff, which I did not get a chance to address.
I start with whatever I want. It's my cross-examination. You don't tell me what to start with. Let's go. You accuse Catholics of worshiping Mary. What is worship according to the Bible?
Well, it doesn't matter. The question is,
it doesn't matter.
Hold on. Let me. You asked me a question.
Go ahead.
Will answer. Okay. You asked me that the issue here. You tried to point out that this was a error in the Quran. The issue is this: that when you read the Quran, you have to read it with this presupposition that all of this Son of God, God coming down in the form of a man, all this is wrong. And if all of this is wrong, then that means you are engaging in false worship.
So I'm not asking you about Jesus being God or the Son of God. We're going to return because I know it doesn't matter. And I know you don't have an answer. I'm going to ask you again. Clearly, Muhammad was accusing these Bible Christians and these Christians that held the sacred tradition of worshiping Mary. You admitted that in your opening statement. What is worship according to the Bible? What is this distinguishing mark of worship?
Wait a second. That the question is wrong because when
what is the distinguishing mark of worship according to the Bible?
Okay, wait a second.
It's a simple question.
Me. I let you speak. Now it's my turn.
But you got to answer it. I was answering you, Nadir.
I will tell you. Okay, I will answer you from what is worship according to the Quran.
I don't care what the Quran says, Nadir. I want to know what worship is because you're accusing Christians of worship. Let's stick to the Torah. And you open up ChatGPT since you used it in your opening. Open it up. I'll let you ask the question. According to the Torah, what is worship? What is the distinguishing marker of worship, Nadir?
Okay, see, the question is wrong, and let me answer you, because if you want to know what you made a claim that the Quran is wrong because it accused the Christians of worshiping Mary. So the question here is, what is worship according to the Quran, not the Bible?
Okay, what is worship according to the Quran? What is worship according? What is worship according to the Quran?
Okay, so let's take a look. We can take a look.
No, you're not putting your slides up during my cross-examination.
Wait a second. Okay, I will quote for you chapter 25, verse 43. And here it says, have you seen, O prophet, the one who has taken their own desires as God, as their gods. So this is God's understand, what Allah's understanding
It
of what
doesn't tell
people
me
think.
what worship is,
So
though. So I'm going to
yes,
ask you again,
okay.
according to the Torah, because it doesn't tell you what worship is.
The
According to the
devotion.
Torah, what is
Okay.
worship according to the Torah?
Well, I don't know about the
I know
Torah
you don't know.
because I
Worship
don't
is
care
sacrifice.
about the Torah.
I know you don't know. Do Catholics sacrifice to
Why are
Mary?
you interpreting
Do
Islam
Catholics
with the Torah?
sacrifice? Do Catholics sacrifice to Mary?
Do Catholics? No, they don't. Not that
That
I
is
know
what
of.
that is a distinguishing marker of
Okay.
worship, Nadir.
But,
What do
hold on a
Catholics do
second.
that is worship of Mary? Answer it for us.
Well, what Catholics do in terms of giving, they pray to Mary, they pray for her, they pray to her.
Where does
certain
the
things.
Bible say that praying, asking for intercession is worship? Because the ancient Jews did it. The ancient Jews prayed to saints. So where does the Bible say that praying and asking for intercession, where does the Bible say that is worship?
That's found in Islam where it's condemned, not your Bible.
I could care less what
wait
Islam
a second.
says. In the New Testament and in the Torah, in the
But
Torah and the
you're
New
not
Testament,
okay, hold on a second. Let me finish.
which your
here.
Quran
To
affirms,
claim-
the
okay, hold
Torah
on.
and the
Now-
New Testament,
okay, you're just
worship is
talking
not
over
just
me.
prayer. Go ahead, Nadir.
Okay,
I'm going to allow you to
you're
answer.
supposed to be asking me questions, and I'm
Answer
supposed
it.
to be answering. Okay?
Answer it, Nadir. Answer it.
Okay, so I'm telling you that your question is wrong because when you claim
No, it's
that
not.
the Quran has some kind of mistake in it, well, you don't go to the Bible to start interpreting Quran verses. You interpret the Quran.
You didn't
with the
give me the
Quran.
Quranic verse that interprets
Yes.
worship. You didn't give it to
Okay.
me.
Yeah,
So I
and
asked you what
so-
worship was,
okay,
and why.
so
Here's the thing, Nadir.
Okay, so now you asked
hold
me
on.
the second question.
Here's the
Where
thing,
is
Nadir.
Islam?
Why would I
Okay.
care, Nadir,
Okay.
what a book written several hundred
Okay.
years after the Torah and the Gospels
Because it
say?
has scientific
Why would
evidence
I
to back
care?
it
No,
up.
it doesn't have
Okay, now
scientific
I'll
evidence.
answer you.
It's wrong about Mary.
You asked me the question. Now
So-
let me answer.
So let me
Okay,
ask
this
you.
is not your time to
Right, I'm going to allow you to answer. I'm going to ask it.
You
Let me
said,
make
why
it
would I
coherent.
care?
I'm going
Why-
to ask you
you-
in a coherent way.
Okay, why
Does
would I
the
care?
New Testament or does
No,
the
I wanna
does the
answer your
Torah or the
first
New
question.
Testament, does it present worship as asking for prayer? Does the Torah or the New Testament do that?
As asking for prayer? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't care about those things.
So then let me ask you this. I don't care what the Quran says, Nadir. So then let me ask you this.
Then don't say there's errors in the Quran.
Because very clearly the Quran is reinterpreting something that was never believed
No,
by the
okay,
early
hold on a second.
followers of the
Hold on.
Christ.
This is not your time to give refutation.
So,
You asked me a question.
right. Here's
but
my next question.
I want to
Answer
answer
it.
your
Go ahead.
original question. You
Go ahead.
asked me why should I care?
I need an
what
answer
the
though,
Quran
Nadir.
says?
Give me an answer.
Well, you said, why should I care what the Quran says? Because what I'm telling you is that one of the scientific miracles of the Quran is that it will correct the scientific errors of the Bible. And this is a very good argument because now the atheists, the agnostics, and the atheists now
So
have
your argument, I'm going to cut you off because it's my cross-examination. Your
that's
argument
why
is
you
to
should
give no
care.
answer, is to
Okay.
simply say it's scientifically proven. You don't
Look
give
at
any
our
answer.
scientific
You
evidence.
cannot define what worship is. But in the Torah and the New Testament, worship is defined in a
I'm
way
not a Jew.
that
I don't
means
care
we
about these
don't
things.
worship Mary. So let me ask you
Okay.
another question.
Yeah.
In the first, what year did Muhammad flourish?
It was about like around 637, 632, right around
For
there. Yeah.
632 years,
Yeah.
who in church history, who in history of the Christian era defined worship the way Muhammad would define it?
I don't care about these.
I know
things.
you don't
The
care.
issue here
Good.
is
I know
what
you
does
don't care.
Islam teach about worship?
I know you don't care.
You know?
My point is
The
to show
issue
Muhammad
here
is a
you
false
hold
prophet.
on. Well, you can't
He's
talk over
created
me.
a
You asked
religion.
me a
Go
question
ahead.
and you're not
Answer the
letting me
question.
answer.
This is
My point
outlandish,
here is
Nadir.
my point to you here is when you make a claim that the Quran has some kind of error in it, well, you have to judge it by what the Quran and Islam and Muhammad define what is worship.
No, I do
That
not,
is
because
how-
that
okay,
comes
so-
600
now-
years later.
So what you're
That
doing,
is far removed from
Okay.
the apostles. Let me ask
but
you this.
we have
Did Muhammad
scientific
know any
error
apostles?
to back it up. So
Did Muhammad
therefore
know any
your
of the
argument,
apostles?
Islam
Nadir.
claims. Okay, now you made a point. Now let me answer
Did
you.
Muhammad know any of the apostles?
No, he did not.
No, he did not.
Any
Okay.
Of the
Do
apostles.
we have writings that say things about Mary that Catholics believe in the first centuries after the death of Christ?
After the death of Christ, do you have stuff which talk about Mary? Perhaps, but those are all.
No, I'm not asking you that. No, didn't ask you that, Nadir. Give me a focused answer. In the first centuries, I don't care if you think they're kooks. In the first centuries, do we have writings of people that purport to have followed the apostles, that believe things about Mary that Catholics believe? Yes or no?
that Catholics believe. What I understand, I mean, specifically about Mary, whether it's come from the 1st century, we have like Clement of Rome. We have some very early writings of these kooks. What they wrote specifically about Mary, I don't know.
Good.
But
I'm
all of
glad
it
you
is
don't
bogus
know.
because you can't
I'm
prove these
glad you don't
people
know,
are
because then
genuine.
after this debate, you need to do your research, because
Yeah,
they
it's
testify to
irrelevant.
things.
The
It is
issue, no,
relevant
I'm not
because
going
they're
to research
apostolic
that
witnesses.
because
They are
there's no proof
apostolic
for their
witnesses,
bogus
Nadir.
claims.
It is relevant because they are apostolic witnesses, Nadir.
There's
And
no
you can't point.
apostolic
You
witnesses. It's
just
all a
admitted.
myth.
You just admitted
There
to
is
the
no
audience. You
evidence for
just
these things.
admitted
All
that
right.
Muhammad, his beliefs originate 600 plus years after
There
the
is,
beliefs of the
there is,
followers of the
look,
Christ.
if
So
you
then let
guys
me ask
really
you
had
this.
this apostolic
Let me ask you
witness
this,
stuff,
Nadir.
I would follow
Here's
it.
my
But
next
it's all
question. No, you wouldn't,
mythology.
Nadir. You're blinded.
Okay.
Here's the next question. The
Yeah.
early enemies of the Christ, did they write, and in their writings, do they testify to things that Catholics believe about Mary and Jesus? The early enemies.
Like you could look at the Ebionites, the early church, which was against your church, and testified that they're a bunch of kooks and quacks. Yes, we have writings of we have historical references of.
I'm
the
not talking
Ebionites
about
in
you
many other
Ebionites. I'm talking
churches.
about people that were in charge, like pagan leaders that were in charge. Do they write testifying what the followers of the Christ believe, and do those line up with Catholicism?
They do not testify that she is the mother of God. I
What
don't
does
believe there's anything
what does
like
Celsus
that.
say? Does Celsus admit? Does Celsus admit that Origen believed that Mary was mother of God?
What Celsus said is that he caught Christians fabricating gospels.
I
That's what
understand
he
Celsus
said.
is an
Is that
enemy.
true?
I know he's an enemy, but let me ask you once more.
He said they're
Does the enemy
fabricating stuff.
Celsus confirm that the Christians that he knew about believed Mary to be the mother of God? Yes or no? Even if he thought they were wrong.
Yeah, well, of course. I think they
Of
would.
course. Thank you.
If
Thank
you
you.
believe
The early enemies,
hold on,
the
let me,
early
hold on, you're
enemies,
not letting me
Nadir.
talk.
The enemies
Listen,
believed that the
you're cutting me
followers of the
off
Christ,
listen,
the
Willie,
enemies
I let you
believed that the
talk. Now it's my
followers
turn
of
to
the
talk.
Christ
Well, okay.
believed things that were Catholic.
Hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Let me. This is you have to let me speak here. When you ask me a question,
Go ahead,
you
and I'm going to
cut
ask you
me
another
off.
question after. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go
hold
ahead.
on a second. I mean, so what we have from the 1st century is we have people who believed Jesus was divine, he is God, but then we also have people who believed he wasn't divine. So this is just common sense. If you believe Jesus is divine,
nobody
then
part of
his
the group of
mother
Christians
gave
believe that.
birth to God.
No
But like I
Christian
said,
believed he wasn't divine. No Christian believed he wasn't divine.
no,
My
the
next question to you
Ebionites
is this.
did not believe he was divine.
The
Okay.
Ebionites also denied the virgin
Okay.
birth, and they denied the
Okay.
resurrection.
Well,
They're
nobody,
heretics.
everybody was
So then
messed
let me
up
ask
back
you
then.
this. Let me ask
Okay.
you this other
So
question. They're a
yeah.
heretical group, and
Well,
I'm
they
glad
said
you
you're a
hearken
heretical
to the
group.
heretics. You're
Okay.
right, but guess what? Clearly,
They're
our gospel that
they're
Muhammad
bogus
believed that you could
gospels.
hearken to, our gospel that Muhammad
Yeah.
believed was still
It's
present in
all
his time,
circular
clearly believes
reasoning.
everything that I believe.
It's all
Where in?
circular.
Tell me who before Muhammad believed Holy Mary's father's name was Imran?
The issue here is, I think first of all, your argument here is that why did the Quran call Mary, or I'm sorry, I'm sorry, let me go back to the issue. I wrote down your argument. Give me 1 second here.
You take all
I
your time.
understand.
ChatGPT might be able to help you out there.
Oh
Hit it
yeah,
up. You use
ChatGPT
it
is
in
a
your opening.
great
You might
tool.
you might want to use it right now. See how well it does against me. Let's see how well it does.
So
type it in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Help me, ChatGPT. Help me.
Allow me to speak.
Give me an early father that believed Imran, or any early writer believed the name was Imran.
I don't have to give you testimony from your kooks and quack fathers.
So let me ask you, outside of them, let's forget the early fathers for a moment. Let's forget the early fathers for a moment. Let's forget them. They're too dangerous for us.
Okay.
Who in 630 years? Said that Mary's father's name was Imran? Who? Give me one.
No, I don't. From the Hadith, if we look at the Hadith,
I don't care what the Hadith say.
Okay,
the first 600 years. Okay. Who says Mary's father's name is Imran?
No, I don't know of any No, don't cut me off. Okay, let me speak.
Go ahead. Give me the answer.
I don't know of any reference like that, but the religion of Islam doesn't need that because the religion of Islam has scientific, prophetic, archaeological
and
evidence.
I clearly don't believe you have any scientific evidence if you cannot prove any of these beliefs. This is outlandish.
So we don't, the religion of Islam doesn't need all the things you are demanding of it, because it comes with solid evidence proving it is a divine revelation. So we don't
So
need
there's
these
no
things.
answer. There's
Okay.
no answer. I just
So
believe
I
it's
think
divine
that's
and it's
where the
scientific.
scientific
I tell you
miracle
one thing, Nadir.
argument is
Earlier
going to
today,
come
I
in.
hurt my back. My back feels really good right now because I've been carrying the load throughout this whole debate, actually providing evidence. I asked you for one writer. I don't care if it's a father, just one person that thought Mary's father's name was Imran. Are
Yeah,
you aware there's hundreds of liturgical documents throughout history before we get to Muhammad? Why don't we just have one Nadir that says Mary's father's name is Imran? Just
because you
one.
don't, because the religion of Islam doesn't need
It
it to
doesn't need
prove
logic,
itself,
is what it
because
doesn't need.
it
It
shows it
doesn't need
has other
logic.
evidence
It
to
doesn't
demonstrate.
need
Okay, you're just
logic.
cutting me off.
Go ahead.
William,
Go ahead.
come
Go
on.
ahead.
You know what?
Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
believe the rules were
Go
that,
ahead.
okay, you ask a question, I
Nadir, go
answer.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'm going to get you
as
answered.
I've told you, so really what needs to happen here, we need to have a debate on the scientific miracles of Islam. And the things, what I'm trying to get you to explain, the reason why, if you go and look in history and say, okay,
My
well, I don't
goodness, man.
find anybody named
Oh, my goodness.
Aaron, or Iram, I'm sorry. We don't need that, because Islam has already proved itself to be scientifically,
So I am glad
has
that you
given us
admit.
amazing miracles.
I'll let you
So
give an
now
answer for about
that's
a minute,
all
Nadir.
we need to
Don't call me
know
unfair.
this book is from God, and everything in the book is true because of that type of evidence. That's
So
how Islam works.
I'm going to be very fair. I'm going to give you a full minute to just answer. It's my cross-examination. I'm going to give you a full minute to answer without interrupting. But I
Thank
just
you.
want the audience to realize you couldn't even give me one. You
We don't
couldn't
need
even
it.
give me one.
We don't.
I just
Okay.
needed one.
So,
I know you don't
okay.
need it for Islam because you turn your brain off in order to be Muslim.
No,
You
because of
turn it off.
scientific evidence.
So let
You're
me
not
ask
turning
this
your brain
question.
off with a scientific
I want to
evidence.
ask this question. I'm going to give you a minute to respond. I want to ask this question,
Yeah.
and I'm going to give you a minute to respond. According to the Bible, according to sacred scripture and early church history, all of the early church history, worship had a distinguishing marker of sacrifice. I would like for you in the final 1 minute that you've got left to show me an example of Catholics worshiping Mary as you accuse them of worshiping her by sacrifice. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
By worshiping her, by sacrificing to Mary? I'm not aware of Catholics sacrificing to Mary. I think what they do, they just pray to her. And that is enough in Islam to basically mark this whole issue as false worship. Because if Jesus is not God, then she cannot be the mother of God. And if you're praying to her, asking for her for things, then the Quran is right when it's saying you're taking her as gods besides Allah, because you've basically, the veneration you're supposed to be giving God, you're giving it to Mary. So the issue here, you try to point out this was some mistake in the Quran. It really isn't if you read it within the proper context. You know what I would like to do, and
my time is up already. My time is up.
Church Father Polycarp, you think you can prove these things? I would like to.
Well, I gave you a full minute to speak without interrupting. Yeah. Time is
Maybe
up.
we should talk. I'd like to see what evidence you have for these claims you're making, and I will carefully.
I gave you plenty of them, and you didn't listen.
Okay,
I gave you plenty of them.
Yeah, maybe you zip by very quickly. Maybe I'm the problem here. It could be I'm the problem.
Oh, I tell you one thing.
Okay,
you very clearly are.
You and me, hanging from the willow tree, quietly drifting in